Hello everybody, welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, bringing you a brand new review, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Wild Robot, which is now out in cinemas here in the United Kingdom. It's been out in America for about 3 weeks, and I believe they've for some reason released it online digitally already, so you can check it out online if you're living in the States. So I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the film. I've done a lovely double bill today. I'm pre-recording this in advance. I saw The Wild Robot with The Apprentice at the cinema. I've had a week off work, and it's nice to finish the week off with a couple of new releases. So I have finally seen it. Premiered at London Film Festival last week. As mentioned in the other review, I will be doing more reviews from films at the festival. We chose not to cover it this year. Most of them are going to be out in the next 6 weeks. I know there's already screenings now locked in for Conclave, for Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve documentary. We've got a few more normal releases over the coming weeks, so there's going to be a lot more reviews coming out. If you want to find out about other videos, what else we're working on, go get us on our social medias. linktree.com/cinemasavvy will pop you through to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. We are most active on those, and we do put new clips on Instagram as a heads up. But I am here to talk The Wild Robot, directed by Chris Sanders. And I have a very weird experience with this film. I didn't know of this film's existence until a month ago. I don't know if that's insulting to some people or not. I saw an announcement on the news last week within London Film Festival that a sequel's been officially greenlit. They celebrated that by once again putting a film that's been out for 2 weeks online. I've seen it's grossed 150 million on a 75mm budget, which is very good. I didn't know Pedro Pascal was in the cast, Mark Hamill was in this cast, Ving Rhames. There's a great voice cast led by Lupita and Nyongo. I'll be talking about those shortly. But I kind of want to just give my intro thoughts is that I really liked this film. I didn't know what to expect about it from the posters and looking at making the thumbnails background to this. It was very Iron Giant looking to me. And I was like, okay, I'm in. I love seeing a film without knowing anything about it. Sometimes I believe it's the best way to go. And when it comes to an animated film, I now discovered that Dreamworks have a MCU intro. Shrek was in there and loads of other characters were in there. So yeah, if you didn't know who Dreamworks are or what they've worked on, you definitely know now. I moaned about this with the Transformers 1 review last week. Hasbro also now has the same MCU intro. It's a very weird trend happening. I know branding's important, but do you really need to rehash every single well-known character? That's a question for studios to decide on. For me personally, it works for Marvel, but it doesn't work for these. I think it's a bit of a waste of time, but that takes nothing away from this good film. And as with animated films, it's always a tricky experience at the cinema. You know, you go on a Saturday lunch, there's going to be loads of families, screaming kids, it's made for kids. I saw an outrageous tweet by someone at the film festival complaining that there were children at a premiere screening for a film that's on sale to the general public under the tagline gala of family and friends for an animated children's film. Someone was complaining that there were children, which is just hilariously stupid. But kind of alongside that is, yes, sometimes in animated films, you know, if you get the wrong audience, it can ruin it. But you have to accept that these aren't made for film people. They are made for families to go together to the audiences to see these films with childlike themes. Some may be suited well tailored to adults, but it always completely gobsmacks me when people get that wrong. So when I go to these cinema trips, if I want to avoid younger audiences or whatnot, guess what? I go later in the day. I go late at night. I try and avoid it. I sit on the far end. It's one of those kind of things where, you know, people like to complain for the sake of no reason, but I went in the week and it was actually dead. I'm off work this week, the schools are all open, so it was a bit of an easy tick for me to get this one. But I was surprised to see that this had been released in IMAX, which I didn't see it in IMAX. And my experience, it was lovely seeing it at the cinema. An empty cinema is always a great way to watch it, and I thought with this, it was a really compelling film that I didn't know what to think. I mentioned the Iron Giant already, and when we were being introduced to this robot exploring this new land of all these sort of woodland creatures, I thought, oh, okay, this is going to be something a bit different, and I kind of loved it. The more I'm talking and thinking about this film, watching The Apprentice after was quite wild, actually, if I'm being really honest, but it's a gorgeous film. The animation's superb. It doesn't look like the animation we've seen recently. Now, I've never seen the How to Train Your Dragon films, so I don't know if the animation style is the same based off photos. I don't think so, but this felt really unique, like a new animation format. I know in recent years, like many things, people copy the studios that are doing things really well. Spider-Verse has been rinsed and repeated by a lot of companies trying to do the same thing. This doesn't do this. It feels like a weird middle ground between being 3D animated whilst being hand-drawn. It just felt quite exciting and quite new, and I think it really lent itself to the environments this film has, like with the woodland creatures being away from humanity in a way. I thought it extended really well and it worked in that respect. And I think, as I said, the animation's great. So I fully expect this to be up for the Best Animated Film Oscar. Is it better than Transformers 1? For me, no, but I love the Transformer films. What can I really moan about? That was a superb film. So great to get 2 animated films in the space of a week here in the UK. I know half term is approaching. They'll probably be a lot busier then. But it is something I did think about. But what works for me is, I guess, an adult watching these films is what's more compelling for me is the story. And the story of Roz being this robot who's essentially lost and woken up in this woodland area, taking on the mantle of an adoptive mother to a child. I know it's been a thing, especially when you bring Pedro Pascal into this, but like so many great films, you can interplace characters, actors, environments, animation to live action. If you have a good story that runs through all that, the story is going to run through and succeed, which this does. There's a great premise, there's a great story, and the film is built around it. I mentioned Lupita Nyongo, she's great in this. I don't know if she's done many animated roles before. I know Maz Kanata's technically motion capture within Star Wars, and she's massively underused in those films. But I thought she was great as the adoptive mother in this and figuring out the world. She has the right voice of wit, performance, and curiosity, which I think a film like this needs. I think if you get this wrong with a voice actor on the lead, the film's not going to function. And she's great. Then you bring in Pedro Pascal playing the fox, which is excellent, as you'd expect from Pedro Pascal. And I really like what this film does. I'm not going to do any spoilers for people that want to see it or what they don't, but the film goes in a completely different direction to what I thought this would be. You might look at the story as a typical Pixar or an Aardman type story, if you can even associate the pair of them, because they're very different storytellers. But I was worried at one stage, is this going to be like a really traditional paint by the numbers, here's journey A, B, C, D, but it didn't do any of that. It was really invigorating and I kind of loved it for it. So going into this blind was the best way to experience The Wild Robot, and I do think this is a film that people will revisit. I know there's going to be a sequel, but it actually opened itself up. I don't want to say to being a franchise, but it opened itself up to more ideas and to see more from these as time goes by. And I think by the choice of construction, with the setting, with the characters, and what they do with this, it's a really good place to do that. So I always find it tricky reviewing animated films. I mentioned the stellar voice cast, I mentioned the performances and the structure and the animation itself. So as I said, there's not really any complaints from me. It was just really likeable, and sometimes I saw what you need for the film. I don't really have any criticisms either. It's a solid film, and as I said, I think it's one that's going to be very popular with others. So that is going to round out this shorter review today. I hope you've enjoyed it. For people that like this video, please do of course help grow the channel by liking, subscribing. We've got a lot more reviews coming. I mentioned Conclave and Super Sash Man. We've got Matt Rushmore videos dropping every Tuesday. There's a lot happening on the channel. It's been very busy, so the best way to find out about videos is getting us on social medias. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, all under linktree.com/cinemasavvy, and we've got some cool announcements on the way. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you all for watching. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.